Yo! This is me from another life. I just want to tell you guys I'm here to say, make sure you like, share, subscribe. You feel me? Y'all see me working hard, putting the work in the content. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you also follow me, twitch.tv/dprophet24. It's up there, but yeah, man, let me know what kind of content you guys want to see. Summons, tips, tricks, guides. When you say you want to see it, I do it, and then I don't see y'all there. I'm just wondering, like, you feel me? Twitch.tv/dprophet24, man. I hope to see you guys in the video. What's going on? Back plugged in again with your boy the Prophet. Hey yo, man, we back plugged in with another tier list video today. Yo, PvP, this is the time for the PvP tier list with the addition of a new top tier PvP character. So we're gonna go ahead and get into everything, break down some of the best PvP characters in the game, and if I miss any character, just make sure you let me know in the comment section. I'll try to correct anything in the pinned comments, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that down below for any updated information. But we're about to get it popping. I hope you guys do the content. Let's get it lit. Drop my shit.
They left a nigga down bad, I had to come up. Yeah, hustle down into the sun. I had to switch up, nigga, no, I ain't mad at you. I just had to come up and look at just what that bag could do. I charged into the game, cause I said I won't complain. Ain't been no sunny days, I had to get it out the rain. Look.
And we back plugged in again. Alright, y'all, so let's go ahead and get right into it today. Like I said, so what I'm going to just kind of set for a ground basis, what you're looking for a PvP character, a top tier PvP character, is a combination of damage reduction, flurry, poise, some sort of status ailment, and anything that helps your team, like a boost or a debuff or heal, insta-kill on your soul bomb, something like that. So essentially the tiers are going to go according to who has those things, and this is a meta PvP tier list, meaning it's what's best right now. Okay, so at the end of the day, attribute advantage is a lot more important in PvP over killer. Killer is a lot more situational, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into the list. Starting out in our B tier, we have the Power Noitor Gilga. Now, he does have a resurrected link of normal attack damage, 20 and 80% last ditch. So that's very, very solid. He has a captain killer, and he does have bruiser with his flurry since he got resurrected. He doesn't have damage reduction, and he doesn't have poise, nor does he have any type of status element. So at the end of the day, he is melee, so he's just going to get interrupted most times, and that's pretty much that. Moving on to our next character, the Machine Society Izukita. Running out in B tier, he is ranged, and in most cases, the only scenario where ranged characters are even viable, remotely viable, is in a last-ditch survival scenario where you do actually have one character that can get a kill on the other side of the field. Okay, ranged NAD is a lot better off last ditch because they just get free hits in, so they might get 1 or 2 NAD strings off before you can even close the distance to get close to them with that melee character. But then once they get close, then the ranged character is going to start retreating. So that's why ranged AI is really bad in PvP, unless last ditch situation. So he does have flurry with 30 bruiser and paralysis on everything except its heal moves. So solid in that regard. This Cacao Society Aizen, 80 bruiser with 20% normal attack damage with the Soul Reaper Killer with the status ailment, only because he has a self vortex with paralysis and Soul Reaper Killer, which is pretty much always going to be okay. So, but he doesn't have poise and no damage reduction. All right, moving on to the Desert Society Ichigo, who also him and this Kita has the same NAD string. This Kita has one of the worst NAD strings possible, as well as this Ichigo. So even in that last ditch situation, if you can't kill someone because your NAD string it doesn't affect them fast enough, it's going to be a lot less advantageous. All right, Ichigo does have a round card killer, with 20 bruiser, burn on everything except a second strong attack, which is a heal move. And once again, he does have the range collision type of normal attack where it hits in like 4 separate phases, so the damage is very, very inconsistent. No poise, no damage reduction. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and move up to Lilynette. She is solid stats and skills wise in the sense that she does have DR, Flurry, Bruiser, and she's a healer, so she does add something to the team as well. But at the end of the day, she falls into the same category as range with that really, really bad segmented normal attack string. She doesn't have any status elements either. Her damage is so segmented by the time they get close to her, she's not even gotten off a full NAD string. And in that time, they just close the gap and just start smashing on her. So, yeah, but at least she does have DR and poise, and she does add something to the team. So Bomb doesn't do anything. That's a pretty much negative as well. Next, we have Oetu Nimaya, who you could argue maybe Oetu could be above her, but Oetu does not have poise, and he don't have DR. Having really good NAD, but he's going to get interrupted with his normal attack because he doesn't have poise, and doesn't have any damage reduction to mitigate any sort of damage. So, and he's a red, green, blue attribute, so that means that he's going to have the advantage in some cases, but then in some cases he's just going to be a lot less viable. So keep those things in mind. He's not a horrible character. Notice that the tiers are B, A, and A+. You know, it's not like D or C tier, you know. These are B, A, and A+ tier PvP characters. So they're all viable in some sense, you know what I mean, if that makes sense. But obviously, PvP in the top over third seat, it's straight meta, alright? And if you don't have a combination of all the things I said, even Transcendence won't help you in most cases. We're going to go ahead and move on to this Halibel. She has damage reduction. She has a resistance to a status element, which is paralysis. So she cannot be paralyzed, and she has paralysis in her kit. So she pretty much has everything. She only has a 50% bruiser, which is why she's so low. But she does have Sweeper Killer. So again, Sweeper she has about 70% magnifications. But at the end of the day, she can stall just as good as any unit in the game. She can stall. But, you know, in this day and age, just being able to stall isn't good if your Soul Bomb doesn't really do any damage. So this Yami Can't Fear Unword version, he does have a normal attack damage link, a Hollow Killer, and he has a he does have poise, and he does have burn. So he does have those things going for him. Hollow Killer isn't going to help you at all in PvP really, except like Vasto Ichigo, I guess. No DR, so unfortunately he don't have anything crazy, no crazy way to proc that burn, or no boost, or he doesn't really add anything else to the team, okay? So yeah, pretty much moving on. Hiyori, she doesn't have any status element, but she does have poise with Flurry. So she has those two things working for her. She also has a weakened defense, which means that you know, if you have her like max transcended, which you probably would if you're even thinking about using her, or at least several dupes in her, or at least transcendence worked in her, defense is a big thing, and weakened defense helps significantly with characters with massively overpowered defense. So that is something viable. So her Soul Bomb does do something, you know, so solid in that regard. She does have poise, like I said, but no DR and no status element. This Sajin, he does have a normal attack damage link and poise, but that's it. He don't have any resistances or, you know, any way to mitigate damage or last ditch or anything like that to keep himself alive. Spotter Killer, but he don't have any way to make up the damage. No way to proc a status element, or no way to keep him in the fight longer. So at the end of the day, he's going to fall off once you get to the higher seats very, very quickly. This Renji, he's really lucky to be on here. He just has Flurry with really high mag and a solid killer for PvP. So that's pretty much it. He does have a Vortex with Lacerate, but Lacerate doesn't take as much HP as Burn or Poison. And in PvP, if they can't do strong attacks, bro, they're still gonna just beat you down. like you know, lacerating doesn't really do much in PvP except take less damage than burn. You know what I mean? So no poise, no DR. So he just gonna get smacked on. Okay, he does have a 30% bruiser. Very underwhelming in PvP. no poise, no DR, no last ditch. So now we're looking at a plus tier. So we're gonna go ahead and start this out with broken. To be honest, getting resurrected was like the best thing for this character. He got an extra 80% last ditch, so he now has 16% DR with 80% last ditch. He did get 20 bruiser, and he already is a booster, but he don't have enhancer. So he does have flurry, poise, DR, and last ditch with an Espada killer. The thing about him is his NAD is so slow, bro. It's really slow, but that's really his main gripe, is that his NAD so slow. Otherwise, he would definitely see himself up a lot higher, and he actually is one of the best links. He actually makes speed characters so much better because they have a 16 DR and 80 last ditch. So he's a very powerful link, and if you have this character, it's very much so worth resurrecting him just for the link. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Kent Furion Ward Dordoni. If he had poise, he would be way higher. He has 20 DR. He don't have any status ailments. He has high magnifications. Captain Killer is solid in PvP, pretty much a fan favorite. But yeah, he does have long reach 20%, so he has fast NAD, but he's going to get interrupted. So at the end of the day, Captain Killer is very solid, but his soul bomb doesn't do anything at all. There's Sadia Otoichi. Solid character. She does have poise, but she does not have damage reduction. She has a Soul Reaper killer with paralysis, okay? And she's a booster with enhancer. So she does add something to your team. She does have poise with the normal attack damage link. Paralysis is very solid in PvP. Very good for stalling. But she does not have DR. So she's going to die a lot faster. Same with this Orihime. And same with this Soy Phone. They both have poise. They're both enhanced boosters. This Inoue, she has Soul Reaper Killer with Lacerate. Doesn't do as much damage as Burn or Poison. Same thing with the Soy Phone. She's a NAD Link with a Round Card Killer. She does have a Sub Vortex, but there's no status ailment with a boost with Enhancer. Poise, NAD Link, no DR, no status. Nelio 2, this is the alternate rebirth version. She just have a 80 bruiser and a cooldown link, which doesn't help her at all. But she does have weakening on absolutely everything, and her NAD makes it possible for her to avoid damage and to actually snipe soul bombs. So, and that sub vortex, you can literally be playing against this character forever if she just keeps proccing weakening, which she will at a higher clip than pretty much any other character that's going to be viable in PvP, because she has SAR and a sub vortex of 25 hits. So very solid. If she had flurry, she would see herself up higher, as well as having DR would put herself a lot higher, and that's just pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Vasto Ichigo, I wish he just had straight up damage reduction and he had last ditch in his kit. Because having 20% damage reduction only against captains, he gets smacked on if he's not going to get to captain. There's just nothing he can do about it. No status ailment, soul bomb doesn't do anything. He does have poise and he stops Brave Battle healing, which is okay, but the best characters in PvP aren't even healing. So he does have last ditch, which is going to give him a life. He'll be able to get a couple extra hits off. Other than that, he's not going to be viable unless he's fighting captains. And even in that case, even someone like Retsu can still insta-kill him with the soul bomb. This Halibel, same variety as our ladies up here. She does have poise, normal attack damage, but she does not have damage reduction, okay? And she doesn't have any status ailments either, so that's pretty much that. Flurry with Bruiser. She also does have weaken duration, and that really does help her. But the fact that she doesn't proc any status ailments, not even her soul bomb, and she does not have DR, she's not going to be able to survive in the fight as long as you want her to. Now, these two characters are right here. I'll pretty much explain why both of them are here. Only in a last ditch scenario where they have 1 or 200% last ditch, and then these guys can get up and just do crazy damage. They can snipe soul bombs. That's the only viable way to use these guys. Otherwise, range NAD in PvP is just not the way, sensei. It's not the way, alright? But getting into this Kisuke, he does have a round card killer with Bruiser. flurry, no poise on either one of these characters. The only reason Kisuke is above Kugo is because he's going to start off with 3 shields, and then once he comes back from last ditch, every time he'll have three shields. So that just gives him an advantage every single time he comes back to life for that short span of time to get a few extra nat hits off, and that's really his only job, is just to do crazy damage while he's not getting touched. But range AI is not the way in PvP. Okay, same thing with this Kugo flurry, a round card killer, no poise, very good bruiser on top of having flurry. Same thing, copy and paste about the strategy. He does have like follow-up skill. He has a lot of PvE stuff. He does have weakened defense though. That does help. That means his soul bomb does do something. Okay, if your defense is weakened and you got a Kugo just up sniping at you, you're going to die. Okay, but he needs a whole team to set him up and to make him viable. Moving on to the Fierce Battle Ikkaku, one of the most solid characters in the game for PvP right now. Legitimately, he pretty much has the entire package except a status element. He does have the flurry, he has poise, he has bruiser, and he pretty much has everything going for him on top of having last ditch inside of his kit. He is a booster, and he also has weaken resistance, so he does add that boosting element to your team, and he's going to stand the fight for just as long as anyone with 16 DR can, on top of him having last ditch already built into his kit, on top of him being a speed character who can have this speed Kenny equipped, so he can have an extra 80 last ditch without losing any DR. All in all, makes him a very solid character. Gonna go ahead and move on to Unohana, aka Murder Mums. She can heal your team with her second strong attack, and the more dupes you have of her, the higher her heal magnifies. So if you have a 5/5 Unohana, if she gets a soul bomb, she can insta kill all 3 of your teammates and heal you 100%. So even if she insta kills one person and heals you 100%, the match is lost for you. You're not coming back from that. So she does add a massive element as far as that with the team. She is a neutral attribute, which in this meta isn't the best, but it's neutral, so it's not bad either, right? We're gonna go ahead and move on to the Camp Fair World Kenny. So this character is pretty solid in PvP. 40 bruiser on top of having flurry and a round card killer, complete paralysis resistance, and he does have poise. So very solid with DR. Pretty much has everything that you would want in PvP, except his soul bomb does nothing. And once again, that's pretty massive because, you know, some PvP matches are last how long they do just based on soul bomb weakening, soul bomb paralysis, you know, and they can go shorter because soul bomb burn because of high defense teams. So not doing anything is not very productive, but he cannot be paralyzed. So again, someone like Noitora, you know, it might be a perfect scenario for him to come out, you know, as the victor. You know, he negates Noitora's ailment, and he has killer and all that stuff against him. So it could work in that sense. But most other cases, you want to be able to proc some sort of status ailment. This Yoruichi, she does have an Espada killer. She also does pass 20% normal attack damage to any speed Soul Reaper in her team, which in PvP isn't the best unless you're running like her and Ichibei, but it's just like, why? You know what I mean? But yeah, she does have 20 DR. That's very solid. And you know, aside from that, she's just a very good character. She has your poise, 20 DR. So yeah, she's not really lacking anything in like the standard stats and skills. Once again, she don't have any status elements, so that's going to hurt her at the end of the day. You know, it's not going to, she can't stay into the fight for any longer aside from her having 20 DR. So that really does help her a lot. You know, being able to pass that 20% nat isn't going to help in most cases, but she does have 60% bruiser on top of flurry with 20 DR. So, you know, in some cases she might be able to outlast some units. Like I said, she's speed, so she has the attribute to do it against maybe like a Jugram, you know. But someone like a Weekend or Ruruka will probably weaken her ass to death and just whoop the shit out of her. Moving on to Izurukita, I think he is without a doubt the best range character for PvP right now. and that's pretty much going to be backed up because he's like the last range character. The reason that he's the best range character for PvP is because he pretty much has everything you want except he's range. He has weakening on his NAD, he has last ditch, he has DR, bruiser, very, very solid character, okay? And he also has poise and debilitator, okay? 30 bruiser with weakening. Like, that's pretty damn crazy, okay? So like I said, he doesn't need any caveats aside from, you know, the whole last ditch scenario, but he already has the last ditch and DR built in, and he's 20 DR with weakening. If this man gets the soul bomb, your life is cooked, baby. It's over. And he's going to help snipe soul bomb because he's ranged. As soon as it comes out, he's just going to turn to it, one NAD string, and then just go NAD back for your face, okay? One weaken proc from this guy and pretty much can spell disaster no matter who you are because he does have poise. Range AI is still going to make him retreat, but the fact that he gets 100% last ditch innately, it means that no matter what, he's going to at least get a few hits off of you when he comes back to life. And if he weakens you, your ass is grass. I'm sorry. So he is the most viable range character in PvP for sure, bar none, okay? Next, we're going to move on to Kirio Thikafune, and essentially she rolls into the same similar branch as Kita and pretty much any other range character that you see, okay? So same with Masaki, same with Tokinata, same with Ginrei, alright? She does have poise, and she does have a boost and a heal move, okay? So she does bring that aspect to your team. Okay, Sorry per Killer, very good in that regard. So yeah, bruiser, so she's going to get extra damage, but only good in that last ditch scenario. She has it pretty much short and sweet, simple as that. This Grimjaw, 20 DR, he literally does everything except has a status element, okay? He has poise, 20 DR, high bruiser, and, you know, good solid killer. Super killer is pretty much going to be active everywhere. Doesn't proc any status elements. That's his only weakness. Alright, my mistake. I had to go ahead and get that swapped around. But yeah, definitely Tokinata over Masaki. The reason is that he has Sorry per Killer, which is going to be active damn near most of the time, as well as the fact that he has paralysis reduction. He cannot be paralyzed, and then his soul bomb does have weakening. So those things together make him all around a better PvP character. I will say though, Masaki has poise. So that's one reason why you might be able to be like, well, Masaki has poise, like, and you know what I mean? So, but in the last ditch scenario where they're both going to be the most effective, being able to snipe the soul bomb and cause weakening is going to be better in most cases. So it's really, really nip and tuck between them two. I really struggle with this. As you see, I just changed it mid-video, but like I said, man, having that weakening on his soul bomb really helps him. She's a boost barrier. He is a boost. So she does give you a barrier as well. But like I said, her soul bomb doesn't do anything for the team, okay? So it's not going to help you stall out or anything like that. Whereas Toki, he gets that soul bomb and it's 9-9, all right? So Ginrei, the reason that he's down here but not in like A tier or something like that is because personally he does have poise and he still will work in that same scenario, last ditch range flurry character, okay? So he does have 20 DR and he does have paralysis on his NAD. So I feel like if he does come back from last ditch, if he can paralyze you, he's going to destroy you. So that's pretty much that, 20 DR, poise, flurry, all those good things. But yeah, he doesn't have any status elements on anything but his NAD though. So that's kind of that. But yeah, Old Man Ginrei pretty solid overall. Alright, now we're in the SS tier. We're pretty much finished out. So this character right now, he checks every single box that you can check. Absolutely, I think bar none, this is the third best PvP character in the game right now, in the current meta at least. He has the debuff skill, he has weakening on pretty much everything except his SA2, he has poise, and he also has a chance to insta-kill on his soul bomb. So very solid character. He does have a star barrier, he can be poisoned or paralyzed, and he does have 30 Bruiser, okay? Absolutely crazy character. Very, very good. He does have Zero Squad Killer, good against Ichibe. His debuff skill on top of the insta-kill chance, on top of the weakening, on top of the start barrier, on top of the paralysis reduction. Poison is kind of meh in PvP, but like I said, the third best PvP character without a doubt right now in the current meta. And like I said, at this point, Transcendence is going to play the most factor, okay? It's massive that Transcendence is a key in who you're putting in your PvP team at this point, all right? So just keep that in mind. Whoever you have the most dupes of is oftentimes going to be best once you're in like any character in SS tier, or getting the red, green, blue attribute strategy always works best for the current meta right now. So going ahead to the next character, Ichibe, very, very solid. He has weakening, he has the start barrier, he has Bruiser on top of Flurry, on top of Poise, on top of DR. So pretty much everything you can want in a character. No debilitator though, unfortunately. All in all, man, a very, very great character. He has all the bells and whistles that you would need, and one of your top tier PvP characters, period, right now. This Kukaku Shiba, man, she's definitely slept on for sure. A lot of people just sleep on her. She actually is a very great high tier PvP character, all right? So she has 30 Bruiser, burn on everything, which in the current meta with defense being the thing, burn is very good because no matter how high your defense is, you're still getting burnt for that consistent damage, okay? So she has the DR, she has burn on every single thing she does, poise, long reach. So she's a very solid character, a round card killer, so she's just very solid in that regard. And she is a tech character, okay? So if you have dupes of this character, you can use her to counter Tsukishimas, alright? If you have dupes of her, at least 3 dupes or maybe 5 dupes, maybe max transcended, you can use her to attribute counter Tsukishima, alright? And the burn is going to help, of course, after his 10 seconds, all that good type of stuff. But that's pretty much it. So same thing with my Yamamoto. DR, he doesn't have Bruiser, but he has attribute meta advantage. And I have basically a max transcended Yamamoto, and he smacks Tsukishimas in most cases, okay? And I have him built with as much DR as I can, and he has a DR in Last Ditch Link, which is possible because he's a tech character. So with the best character in the game being speed, you need a massively invested technique character to stall out your Jugrams and your Tsukishimas. Because the Brave Battle immunities, any character with that skill, their defense is just integrally lower. And after that 10 seconds, they drop like flies. So most of them aren't even built for DR, if they're smart anyways. So yeah, a Yamamoto with high investment can counter a Tsukishima with similar investment. So attribute advantage is very, very key in the current meta, alright? Then you have Chad, Chad with high investment is going to counter your Jugram. So there are a few ways, and that's why Ichibe is up so high as well, because Jugram still needs to be countered as well as the Tsukishima, okay? So if it's even Steven, no one's countering them. You're only countering them by having more work and more transcendence into yourself and having attribute advantage. That's the only way, okay? So moving on to Chad, he has a boost with Enhancer, Captain Killer with paralysis on everything, so he can stall you out with the soul bomb, he can boost, he can do all that. So very solid character in that regard. Like I said, most people are going to have a massive dupes of this character as well as Yamamoto if you're using him in PvP right now, okay? So just keep that in mind. If you see a Chad, they're probably going to be at least 3 of 5 or 4 out of 5, you know, with the defense role, you know, if they're smart anyways. So yeah, moving on to Notori Gilga. Right now, and you'll notice that both of the neutral characters in this tier are pretty much right here, because right now, if you have a highly invested in Noitora, he's still going to be really good, except anyone that has process resistance. But he's still a booster with Enhancer, Start Barrier, Poise, DR, all that stuff, man. So he's still a very, very great character. Being a neutral attribute right now, it's not negative, whereas somebody like Kenpachi and Ruruka being power attribute is almost negative right now because because Suki hard counters you, and a Jugram is going to kill you in the first 10 seconds in most cases, one of these two characters. So in this case, you'll want to be any other attribute, so which is where these characters come in, right? So Captain Killer with Noitora, Paralysis, Poise, Start Barrier, and he does have Bruiser as well. Very, very solid character. IMadeTheBeat. He's essentially like a mind version of the Tech Yamamoto. He would be better than Tech Yamamoto if it wasn't for the current meta that we're in, with the speed character being the #1 character in PvP and you needing a tech character to counter them or else you die. IMadeTheBeat is a Captain Killer with burn on everything. He's mind attribute with poise, and he also passes 20% normal attack damage to any Mind Soul Reaper. Okay, so that doesn't really work with anyone except him in the current meta for PvP. Burn is solid for these high defense teams, so keep that in mind. If you somehow have Transcendence dupes of him, he will be a very, very viable character, and he can pretty much carry you because he is a neutral element, a neutral attribute that does proc burn on every single thing he does. Okay, so in that regard, he's very solid. Ruruka over Kenny. This is pretty much a back and forth, but Ruruka is, no one's ever going to have killer against her. She has weakening as well as Kenny, as well as poise and DR, but he has 20% bruiser, which Kenny doesn't have. So he's not going to have killer most of the time, but she's always going to have that 20% bruiser. And 9 times out of 10, no one has killer against her that's anywhere near relevant in PvP. So she definitely has that going for her. She can insta weaken you, perma weaken you, and just keep you debilitated the whole time. So very solid character in that regard. She gets the soul bomb, it's pretty much over for you. Same with Kenny. Most people are going to have a high transcendence of him, probably a max defense role. A max defense role Kenny is still a monster in PvP, against most people except a Tsukishima, who can be weakened. Okay, he's a perfect counter. So yeah, anyone except Tsukishima specifically will be very, very RNG based, because this Kenny can legit just deadlock you with weaken, whether he gets a soul bomb or not. I've literally had 8-minute PvP matches with my max transcended Chad and a max transcended defense build Kenny, and we're just a combination of doing 1 damage to me, and I'm doing 1 damage to him because I'm constantly weakened. So very, very great character. He's still very, very viable in the highest seats of PvP. Listen, y'all, we're at the final tier, the God tier of PvP, and you guys pretty much knew this was coming. So yeah, man, absolutely God tier character. He has the new drain ability, which if he's afflicted by any status ailments, then he's actually heals himself. So very, very good. He can't be weakened at all. For the first 10 seconds, he's completely invincible, DR, poise, and he does have that drain on everything except his second strong attack with a boost with enhancer. So this is an absolutely just broken character. Like, he completely counters Jugram in every single way, even having Stern Ritter Killer, even making Askin, kind of giving Askins a hard time because killer attribute is 40%, so it evens the playing field for them, making Yamamoto even a little bit better, or Kokaku even a little bit better than like Askin. But PvP is about having 3 people in your team. So if you have 1, 2, and 3, you are going to devastate. You got a debuffer, you got a booster, and you got weakening, and then drain. So absolutely crazy. This is the best team, these 3 units right here, or these 2 units, and whoever you have the highest transcendence with. Okay, if you are going to be using 2 of these characters, 2 of your characters are going to be very squishy after that 10 seconds. So having a max defense, any character here, whoever you have the most transcendence work and the most defense build, that's who you want to run. Defense is key against these 2 characters. There's no way to counter them aside from surviving 10 seconds with maximum defense everywhere. And then after that 10 seconds, they'll pretty much fold, okay? But you got to be able to survive first. And the key to building these characters is putting full stamina damage links. Do not run Tsukishima and Jugram with DR. If you're lasting more than 10 seconds, you're going to die most times, okay? They just fold, bro. Their defense after that 10 seconds is like half of what your average character is. For whatever reason, that's just how the skill is built to balance it out. Makes perfect sense. Because if it wasn't, this would just be a nightmare. There would be no countering these characters. So, same thing. Brave Battle Invincibility, Drain, cannot be weakened. Poise, DR, Brave Battle Invincibility, absolute god tier character. Same with Jugram, we all know. Brave Battle Reversal, as well as Brave Battle Immunity or Invincibility for the first 10 seconds, as well as weakening with DR, Poise, and he does have a Hero Squad Killer. So, top tier PvP character. Just because Tsukishima countered Jugram does not mean Jugram is not viable. Jugram and Tsukishima will definitely work in the same team. You're crazy if you think they don't. So Jugram is still a nightmare. Suki just counters him, okay? So you still need to build a team around one or the other or both, okay? At the end of the day, full stamina damage is better than normal attack damage, okay? So full stamina damage. Even Senkai's links are going to be better for these two because in that first 10 seconds, you might be able to kill 2 people in 10 seconds with full stamina damage. Otherwise, you're just going to survive. DR doesn't help you for that first 10 seconds at all. Just think about it. You don't take damage, so DR doesn't help you at all those first 10 seconds. And if you survive past the 10 seconds, most characters are just going to flatten you because their defense is like twice what yours is, okay? So that's how you build these characters. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. If I missed anything, if I messed anything up, make sure you guys let me know as well. Hold me accountable. And make sure you pay attention to the pinned comment for any updates in the tier list. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you support my other videos and my other content, please. Till next time, Private Nation, I love y'all. I'm out.